Carry not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. And if you gaze into the abyss gazes back into you. Do you think we have gazed into the abyss and we're locked in the abyss? The question I have for you is, go ahead.
But a person has to want to come out of the dark.
For over 400 years, as a people, as Africans, we've been free from slavery. We've been free from masters, owners. And we embrace a spirit that calls for the braveness in us to fight our way from tyranny into freedom, even if we have to go to the desert. And even if we have to walk uphill barefooted. Over 400 years, we've been able to find our way through and becoming a rising nation of our own. Constantly fighting for rights, reparations, fighting for more leeways in the society. My question to you is, are we stuck in the darkness? Because I believe that it is true that through the darkness we get into the light. Because there's no way, Nietzsche said that. And Nietzsche is a very intelligent philosopher that I know. He said that for a tree to get to heaven, the root has to get down to hell. And what that means is, before you can even begin to see the light, you have to go through some tragedies. You have to go through some dark phases in your life. And I think as a people, as African people, we have gone through ages of unimaginable chaos. The question is, are we still stuck in the dark?
As a collective, yes. It's my view that light is available to those who seek it, but a person has to want to come out of the dark. It's a sort of war to fight that a person has to overcome, and that there are monsters on the way, yes, but that's always been life. And whether the monsters be actual beasts or that they be other people, a person has the choice to lie down and take it, to get down and join them, become monsters themselves. Or they can fight and overcome these monsters. A person can allow themselves to be victimized by them. They can choose to make victims out of others. Or a person can choose to be courageous and heroic and help guide other brothers and sisters out of the dark to where the light is.
April 18 in Tulsa, 9 a.m. A black man killed 2 Caucasian men, cold blood, in the morning, 9 a.m. It may seem that this man is still one of those who are stuck in the darkness of the atrocities that were plagued on. If I would say plagued, it will sound like a natural incidents, but I can agree that it's a natural incident, because when you look at the natural order of things, and we see that the same the same mode of plagues that have befallen the blacks over history is the same that befell the people of Israel during the time of Egypt. And we see that slave trade is been a long rooted practice.
Mm.
So if I see use the word natural, I don't want it to sound like, oh yeah, it is a God ordained practice, but it is the way that we as a species we've been wired to take over in a way and to subdue, and we've been wired right from time to more like protect those who are inferior in power. And in order to even take care of those or protect those who are inferior in power, you have to probably place yourself at the top of the power. And I don't know how to conceptualize that, but what do you think about that? Just to go back to my initial question, why do you think so much atrocity happened today between different races? Why do you think so a lot of people are still stuck? I mean, I heard what you said about a lot of people not being able to transcend through the darkness into light, and then they're stuck in the darkness. But to you, I know you're not a therapist or you're not a psychologist, but I know you going into the US military, I know you've seen a lot. And you have seen a lot to the training, to just mingling and living with other people, and even in service, you have to work with other races. And I believe you probably might have gotten the taste of and probably understand what I'm trying to talk about when we talk about how do people come up with such a mindset to manifest. I'll put it that way, to manifest their dissatisfaction of probably the where they are. Because sometimes I believe for a man to shoot two white men, that kind of person is he is his what do you call someone like that? Someone who is still locked with the bitterness of our history. What would you call someone like that? Well, how would you describe such a person?
I would describe them as hateful,
Hmm.
angry.
Okay.
Uh, a person doesn't always overcome their sin. And again, that is a choice
Hmm.
in the end. I mean, going back to what you said earlier, that slavery, racism, tribalism, things of that nature have a long history, not just in the US,
Okay.
but around the world.
Hmm.
Um, the Israelites, Jewish people hated Samaritans um, because they believed themselves to be God's chosen people, and for a long time they were. Um, but as far as being wronged by different classes or races or nationalities, cultures in the past, God calls us to forgive and to choose not to, allows things like hate, anger, and the vengeful spirit to develop in a person's heart. So, to get down to answering the question, this man allows those things to germinate within him. Um, it's never okay for another person to murder anyone, regardless of how they're treated, and regardless how their ancestors have been treated. I make children's cartoons about it, something that's supposed to be simple, but it's not something that's easily exercised. But there's a righteousness in being able to overcome one's own um, hate, hateful nature. There's a righteousness in overcoming sin.
Hmm.
So It was never okay for white people to murder black people, and it stands to be also that it's never okay for black people to murder white people.
Right. I used to have a girlfriend, and I never believed that one can shake his or her feet at God. I never believed that one can literally cry in disgrace against heaven. You know this lady. She made my life hell. She hated the mode of being. She hated existence. She doesn't even feel like we human as a species should be alive. She hated human beings. She doesn't believe that. She didn't believe that we should be reproducing. She believed we are a pest to the world, we are a bug to the world, and we are eating the world up. We're eating the planet Earth, and we are just disaster for the Earth, for the planet, and for all other living organisms. I've never met someone like before. She was really, really, really in a dark place.